fellow firewood fanatics. This is Chris, and we are in the wood yard again today. This morning I am going to be delivering my very last load of wood that I have that is dry and ready to be burned now. I have a bunch of stuff that might be ready in like a month, maybe 2 months, but that is the end of it. This right here was full about 4 days ago. I just emptied it. It was the last of my wood that I had that was under tarps that was buried for like about a year. So I got that out, and then I had to dig through that pile of stuff that was cut and split. Towards the end of winter, there were some sticks in there that I had cut that were probably 50% dry, and it was some popple and some maple and stuff like that. And so I split it down fairly fine. I dug it off the top where it's been in the sun now for a few months. So I threw that in. I got some cherry in here that was dry, that had no bark on it, that was some pretty good chunks. That I got from this pile right here that we just moved over here. And so I got enough to make my last load. Now I'll have to turn people down. I'm getting a call or a text every day for someone that wants wood, and it's frustrating because I could easily sell another 100, 200 face cords, and I haven't even advertised in like a month. So sadness. I have to tell no to people that want to give me money. So I'm going to go deliver this, and then when I come back, I'm going to work on doing splitting on this pile over here. I did a little bit of splitting last night on this maple that I cut yesterday. You can see right here I got some of it split on these rounds, splitters buried underneath the tarp here. So yeah, these are the chunks from yesterday. I split probably, I don't know, face cord and a half, something like that, half of a full cord yesterday. I just wanted to do it before I left, so I started on that. But that's what I'm going to do when I come back, is do some splitting. So here we go, it's delivery time. I'm going to do some splitting now. I'm back from my wood delivery. Oh, I almost forgot. My favorite uncle came home with me. Uncle Benjamin. Isn't he a good looking guy? Looks just like me, doesn't he? Anyway, here's the wood from yesterday, and I am going to split it and throw it over here, and then probably tomorrow, maybe later today, I'll get it stacked. So I've got this pile right here is going to be thrown over there as I split it, and then this pile over here will then be thrown over there too, so I'll make one big pile. So that is the plan. So splitting begins now. So there I was, splitting and splitting and splitting and going through the wood quite well, I must say. And all of a sudden, my Glacier, for those of you that haven't been around much, that is the name of my wood splitter. This is the Glacier. Because it moves at a glacial pace, all of a sudden, my wedge hopped out of the track. You may wonder, how could that happen? Well, the way it happens is you split 8, maybe 900 face cords, and you wear right through the side of this is the inside track of the wedge here. Now, we welded it once, and then I broke it again, and then I was just hitting a piece of wood that had some knots and some crooked stuff in it, and it torqued the head that way, and so it popped right out of the track. So now I get to take the bolt off here, which is very worn out, as you can see. If you see this here, how that's all oblonged. It's like that on both sides. Again, because I've split 850 or so face cords with it, it's basically wore out. Everything's good except for those parts. The motor runs great, the hydraulics run great, the wheels around just fine, everything works good except for the parts that matter. So now I gotta pop that apart, flip up the cylinder here for the hydraulics, flip that up, and then slide the wedge back in from the end down here. It slides in back through there. So that's what happened. Fun in the woodyard. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take the bolt out and then tip up the hydraulic ram. And then I'm going to slide it back in and hook it back up. The reason I know I'm going to do that is this is now the third time I'm having to do this. First time scared the crap out of me because the whole head jumped up and out. Looks like this bolt is bent, so that's good. Yeah, it's very bent. Might just have to put a new bolt in too. And it looks like I'm going to want my gloves because that ramrod is hot. Not like I can't touch it, but I don't want to hang on to it. There you go. Oh yeah, the bolt is definitely bent. I don't know if you can see it. It's got a little hump to it there. So there's that. Now I've got to get the ram back. I'll do that next. So I started it up, ran the ram back. I figured you didn't need to see that. It's no big deal. All it was start it up and run it back. But here's what I'm going to do next. I usually take a chunk of wood like this and I lift up here and ram it underneath here. Make sure it's going to stay. There we go. Clear the track out. See, this is what the track should look like right here, over here. It's not looking like that. Here's the plate. I'll lift this up even a little higher to get it in to drop in. There we go. And just slide it forward, but you got to clean all the bark and crap out of there. And then bring her back down. It's supposed to just slide in there, but everything's so wore out. I mean, you got to see this up close. This is really something, how wore out this is. Like I mentioned before, it'd be smart of me to probably take it off and get it welded. Look at how oblong that hole is. That used to be round at one time. This is the front of it, so going back and forth. And the hole on the ram, you can see that's oblong too. But supposedly I've got a new one coming. I mean a new splitter. I ordered one from Canada about 4 months ago, and because of the shutdown and everything with the border closed and the shop I guess closed or something, I don't know, there's some sick people, and we'll get it eventually. So I'm gonna put her back together now. All right, so there you got a little view of the hole. And so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna try to lift up on the rod,
And then slide the bolt in the hole here. See how close I am. Oh yeah. The trouble is the other side is so gnarled up. I don't know if I get it through this. There we go. Come on, come on. Everything's bad. The actual hole is oblong on both of the ram rod and on the head of the splitter head too. That's oblong. And the bolt is crooked. So everything is messed up. There we go. I got it jacked up a little. There, it's going in. There we go. Now it's in. So now all I got to do is throw the washer on and the nut, and then tighten it up, and then I'm going to whack the snot out of the part that's all bent up and split over here on the rail, or on the guide, the guide, slide, whatever you call this thing. The part that the plate rides on and against. Again, you're noticing nothing but the best in mechanic skills here that I have. This is about the maximum of my capabilities right here. Put a new bolt on, or change the bolt. So anyway, it's about as tight as I think I want it. Yep, that's as tight as I can get it. Okay, so that part's done. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a splitting maul, 6-pounder. I'm going to pound down on this right here, and I'm going to pound in on it, because if you notice, this one's fairly straight. Look at how curved this one is. It's actually bowed out. And you can see, if you look, I get the camera down low enough, you can see how much space there is. See my finger through there? That's why the wedge popped out, because the wedge basically wore it out whenever it torques to that side. So here's a view from the other side, how bad it is. Nice, huh? So now I'm going to pound on it. It's going to get loud. Okay, here's the convincer. It is only a 6-pounder, so I'm not going to go too crazy, but I will bring it down substantially. There's a little bit, and I'm going to bring it in a bunch. If I can get close enough here. That's better. My ears are ringing. I should have had my earplugs in. That was not smart. Okay, so now I know I'll probably get a bunch of comments about how I could fix this better, and I already have a bunch of ideas. So we talked about this in one of my other videos. What I should do, obviously, is get this so it's level. Right now it's kind of dipped down. Then weld it, and then our idea is to take half of a pipe that's this thick, cut it a long way, and then weld a piece of pipe both here and underneath all the way along there, and that would fix it too. So that's kind of our plan once I'm done using it for the year, which is about now, or once I get my new splitter, I'll fix it and I'll either sell it or just have it for a spare. So that's the plan. So back to splitting. Well, I thought I'd take a little break from splitting. I got the first pile done, all except for this one chunk here. So there's the first pile. And I'm thinking when I get done with the first load, and then this over here is the second load, I think I'm going to end up with about 2 full cords. I think I have about just because I've stacked enough wood, cut enough wood to know that's about what it looks like. We'll know when I stack it, but I'm pretty sure that's what it's going to be. So the other reason I stopped is I'm kind of in between loads here. I got to get something to drink. I'm getting thirsty. I wanted to show you something I've talked about before. Some people ask, why those big rounds, why do you rip them like I do? You get those big pieces. Here's the cookie that I cut off of that piece yesterday. I mean, this is the end of the butt. I mean, you can see how big this is compared to my hand. I measured it. He said it was 36. It's 34 inches, which is still a good chunk of wood. And for those of you that have tried to lift a 34-inch piece of wood, once you get anything past about 22, 24 inches, you're talking about a 200-pound round when you get it cut to 16 inches. Because I've weighed a bunch of them, and they're always 200, 210, 220. I've had some oak I've weighed that has been 240. A piece of white oak I had one time. So once they get bigger than that, I don't have big equipment. I don't have a tractor or anything. And plus, I'm cutting it on location and hauling it here with my trailer and then dumping it. So I got to be able to handle it. So that's why I ripped these down. And this is an example of a piece right here. You can see by my hand size there in comparison. This is 1/4 of the end piece that I cut. So you can see how heavy that is now. And I lifted that up onto the splitter. It was everything I could do to get it up there. It was all of easily, I would say 150 pounds, maybe more. I don't know. I wouldn't want it to be any heavier. But yeah, it was a heavy bugger. So yeah, look at how big that is. That's one hand, two hands. That's 3 hands across, so big. And that's a 1/4 chunk. That's not a half, that's a 1/4. Did I say that? 1/4? Heavy. So that means that round on that butt end of that tree that I cut up yesterday, that end round, I had a hard time just rolling it over and tipping it and then cutting it. So if this is 150 pounds, that means that butt piece that I had would have been 4 times that. So 600 pound-ish. Wouldn't surprise me at all if it was 600 pounds. That's why I rip them down to size so that I can handle them. But what's amazing to me is the amount of wood you get out of those chunks. Oh my gosh, here's one of the other quarters right here. I just had my shirt on top of it. Here's one of the other quarters right here. So you can see here's the center right here. So you can see how big that is. This one is substantial also. That's all you want to lift when you don't have a log lift on your splitter. So that's the other reason why I rip them down. Just easier to handle. And if you were watching the video yesterday, you saw how fast my saw cuts. When you got a good sharp saw and you got a little bit of power to it, and you're cutting softer wood like this soft maple or silver maple, it cuts pretty easy. I mean, the saw just falls through it. I actually have to hold the saw up when I'm cutting. You might see me where I'm rocking it a little bit. That's because I'm trying to take, the corner pieces, the 2 ends, instead of taking the whole cut all the way across, I'm trying to cut a little and then cut a little and then cut a little. So you kind of take a little bit off at a time. If I just hold the saw level and let it fall, it gets jammed up with shavings. So I actually have to lift it up so there's just a little bit of pressure so it can eat through the wood, because if you go too fast, it'll just jam up on you. So anyway, we're gonna go split the rest of it now. heavy, very heavy. This is the last one. This is the last one. It is done. The whole pile is done. I think I'm gonna for sure have 2 full cords by the looks of it, maybe more, because I split for 4 hours. So man, I might have even more than 2 full cords. I don't know, we'll find out tomorrow when I stack it. I threw my little small chunks over here, the odd things, cookies, weird things, and I'll throw that in my cookie pile. But here is the pile that I split. It's actually a pretty good bunch. More than I thought, which is why when I hauled it, it felt like a lot in the first load. In the second load, there was at least a couple face cords in there. So yeah, all split. So now it can get drying. So that is it for today. I am done. It's about, it's getting close to 7 o'clock and it's Sunday, so I'm going home. Enough for one day. And if you poke some buttons, the like, subscribe, all that good stuff, you'll be my hero for sure. And I will see you tomorrow. Same wood time, same wood channel. Good night, Irene.